Perfect Dark is a first-person shooter video game developed by Rare for the Nintendo 64 video game console. It is considered the spiritual successor to Rare's earlier first-person shooter GoldenEye 007, with which it shares many gameplay features. Perfect Dark was first released in North America on the 22nd of May 2000. PAL and NTSC releases followed soon afterwards. A separate Game Boy Color game, also titled Perfect Dark, was released in August 2000 as a supplement to the game and allows certain features within the Nintendo 64 game to alternatively be unlocked via a transfer pack. The game features a single-player mode consisting of 17 main missions in which the player assumes the role of Carrington Institute agent Joanna Dark, as she attempts to stop a conspiracy by rival corporation Datadyne. It also features a range of multiplayer options, including a cooperative mode and traditional deathmatch settings. Technically, it is one of the most advanced games developed for the Nintendo 64, with an optional high-resolution graphics mode and Dolby surround sound. A Nintendo 64 expansion pack is required to access the game's campaign and most of the multiplayer features. Perfect Dark was developed over the course of 3 years and uses an upgraded version of the GoldenEye 007 engine. The game met with critical acclaim and commercial success upon release, selling more than 3 million units worldwide. Critics widely praised its customizable multiplayer modes and replay value, but opinions were mixed on its inconsistent frame rate. The game's success has led to the development of the Perfect Dark series, which includes the 2005 prequel Perfect Dark Zero and other types of merchandise like novels and comic books. A remake, also titled Perfect Dark, with enhanced graphics and online multiplayer, was exclusively released as an Xbox Live Arcade game for the Xbox 360 in 2010. Gameplay. Perfect Dark is a first-person shooter in which players control Carrington Institute agent Joanna Dark through a series of levels collected together. Intermissions. The general gameplay is similar to that of its predecessor GoldenEye 007, with features such as stealth sections and objectives determined by difficulty settings carried over. Players can crouch, duck, lean, and drop from most ledges, but there is no jump ability. A number of tutorials and training activities can be taken at the Carrington Institute, which acts as the game's central hub. The Nintendo 64 expansion pack is needed to access the game's campaign and most of the multiplayer features. Although a limited subset of the combat simulator options are available without the device, around 35% of the game is playable without an expansion pack, as estimated on the game's box and instruction booklet. The player has access to a wide range of weapons, including handguns, rifles, submachine guns, shotguns, rocket launchers, combat knives, grenade launchers, various explosives, and several extraterrestrial weapons. Further weapons are unlocked during the training activities in the hub. Almost all of the weapons in the game have 2 modes of fire, a primary mode in which the weapon is used in a typical fashion, and a secondary mode which uses the guns in other ways, such as them being close-quarters melee weapons. Players can carry an unlimited number of weapons, and certain guns can be used in duplicate, one in each hand. Most weapons have a finite magazine and must be reloaded after a certain number of shots. Interaction with objects in the environment is via a single-use command. Enemies and players can disarm each other at close range, and the player can use this feature to steal weapons or knock foes unconscious. Damage taken during combat for the player and enemy units is location-based, with a shot to the torso causing more damage than a shot to a limb. In each level, the player must complete certain objectives and then exit the stage. The requirements are varied, with many levels requiring the recovery and use of numerous high-tech gadgets. If Joanna is killed or fails an objective, the player must start the level again. 3 distinct difficulty settings are available for each level, the choice of which will affect aspects such as the number of objectives that must be completed, enemy accuracy and damage, the effectiveness of the game's optional automatic aiming assistance, and the availability of ammunition and items such as protective shields. If all the levels are completed on the highest difficulty, an additional setting becomes available, titled Perfect Dark. In this mode, players can customize various aspects of enemies, such as their health, their aiming accuracy and the damage they inflict. In addition to the main campaign, there are 4 bonus missions, with 3 enabling the player to control other characters with unique special abilities. Players can also unlock cheats by completing the levels within certain time limits. Some cheats can alternatively be unlocked by using the Perfect Dark Game Boy Color Game and Transfer Pack. Multiplayer. Unlike GoldenEye 007, Perfect Dark features 3 multiplayer systems. The first is a cooperative mode in which 2 players, or 1 player and up to 3 computer-controlled players, can tackle the missions together. If 2 humans play, the game uses a split-screen display, with the option to split horizontally or vertically. Only 1 human player is required to survive the mission, but all the objectives must be completed. Additionally, the game features a counter-operative mode in which 1 player plays the missions as Joanna while another takes over the role of an enemy and attempts to stop her. If this human-controlled guard is killed, the game continues with the counter-operative player taking control of a different enemy in the level. The game does not tell the player controlling Joanna which enemy the counter-operative player is controlling. The third multiplayer mode is the Combat Stimulator, involving up to 4 human players and 8 computer-controlled players. Again, a split screen is used if more than 1 human is playing. If 3 or 4 humans play, the screen is divided into quarters, with 1 quarter left blank if necessary. Players enter the game unarmed and with a certain amount of health. Weapons and ammunition are placed around the level in preset positions. Once a player is killed, they are regenerated elsewhere in the level, once again unarmed. The overall objective of the game is determined by the scenario being played. Scenarios range from the traditional deathmatch mode, where players score points by killing their respective enemies, to objective-based games, such as Capture the Flag or King of the Hill. Other scenarios include Hold the Briefcase, where players must take a briefcase and survive with it for as long as possible, and Hacker Central, a game type where players score points by hacking a computer system using a data uplink. Aspects of each game can be customized, including the chosen map, the weapons available, and the winning conditions. Players can also be grouped into teams or compete individually. In a team game, the players can optionally be shown colored according to their team. Each game can be customized to a greater degree than was possible in GoldenEye 007's multiplayer mode, such as free weapons selection and placement of shields. Computer-controlled players, called simulants, can be included in multiplayer matches. The appearance, team affiliation, skill level and playing characteristics of each simulant can be individually customized. Each simulant can be assigned preset behaviors, such as a tendency to pursue the highest scoring player, or a restriction to only attack using fists and disarming moves instead of gunfire. On higher difficulty settings, simulants perform actions at a superhuman level. In team games, players can issue allied simulants with orders to perform certain tasks. The Combat Stimulator also includes 30 challenges, preset games against simulants which may be tackled by 1 or more players. The challenges cover a variety of game types, weapon arrangements and level setups. By completing challenges, additional features such as new weapons, player models and simulant difficulties are unlocked in the Combat Stimulator. At the end of the match, the overall results are shown, alongside information about the individual player's performance. Color-coded awards divided into multiple categories based on armor damage, Accuracy and ammunition usage are given to players based on their overall performance. Players are also ranked according to their performance. The better the performance, the higher the grade, with the highest receiving a special username and password as a reward. Plot: Perfect Dark is set in 2023 against the backdrop of an interstellar war between two races, the Mayans, who resembled the archetypal grey alien, and the Skader, reptile-like extraterrestrials who use a holographic disguise to appear as Scandinavian humans, bearing similarities to Nordic aliens. Using this disguise, they can interact with humans on Earth without looking too overtly suspicious. Meanwhile, on Earth, there is an ongoing rivalry between two factions. The Carrington Institute, a research and development center founded by Daniel Carrington that secretly operates an espionage group in league with the Mayans, and Datadyne, a defense contractor corporation headed by Cassandra DeVries that secretly maintains a deal with the Skader, in exchange for creating an AI capable of cracking an ancient alien spacecraft buried on the ocean floor. The Skader have agreed to supply them with enough alien technology to become the biggest corporation on Earth. The player is cast as Carrington Institute agent Joanna Dark, whose excellent scores in training have earned her the codename Perfect Dark. On her first mission, she is sent to extract a scientist named Drive, Carol, from the Datadyne skyscraper. When Joanna rescues Drive, Carol, she learns that he is an AI who decided to defect from Datadyne after realizing that the company betrayed ethical and moral standards. After the operation, Carrington is held captive at his private villa by Datadyne soldiers and forced to tell them where Drive, Carol, has been hidden. Joanna manages to rescue Carrington, who informs her that Dr. Carol has been taken to the G5 Corporation headquarters in Chicago because he is suspected to be a front for Datadyne. In Chicago, Joanna learns that Datadyne and the conspirators plan to kidnap the President of the United States to get access to a deep-sea research vessel, called Pelagic 2. Despite the President being in danger, Carrington alerts Joanna that a Mayan craft was shot down near Area 51 and sends her to rescue any survivors from the base. While inside the base, she rescues one survivor, a Mayan protector named Elvis, who is key in stopping the conspiracy. As the President of the United States refuses to loan Datadyne the Pelagic 2, the conspirators plot to kill him and replace him with a Datadyne-grown clone. To accomplish their plans, an NSA strike team led by Trent Easton invades the airbase from which Air Force One will depart. When Joanna foils this strike, the NSA, along with some Scandinavians, take over the plane itself, which crashes after an attempt to detach a craft attached to it. Having survived the crash, Joanna eliminates the president's clone and rescues the real president. Meanwhile, Easton is killed by one particular Scandinavian known as Mr. Blonde, who is revealed to be a Skader in disguise. Without permission from the president, Datadyne decides to hijack the Pelagic 2 and reach the ancient spacecraft. However, unbeknownst to Datadyne, the Carrington Institute learns that the spacecraft contains a powerful weapon capable of destroying a planet and that the conspirators are actually Skader aliens disguised as Scandinavian humans who intend to test the weapon on Earth before using it against the Mayan homeworld. Joanna and Elvis follow the conspirators to the ancient spacecraft and eventually find a reprogrammed Drive, Carol, cracking the weapon. Joanna replaces its current personality with a backup of the original, and the restored Drive, Carol, sets the weapon to self-destruct. In retaliation for ruining their plans, the Skader launch a strike on the Carrington Institute, capturing Joanna and taking her to their home world. While in their spaceship, she is met by DeVries, who has also been imprisoned due to her failure to comply with the deal. Feeling that she has been used, DeVries redeems herself by making a distraction and sacrificing herself, freeing Joanna and therefore giving herself a chance for revenge. Joanna is later assisted by Elvis and the pair manage to land on the Skader planet. There, she defeats the Skader High Priest, leaving the Skader in disarray. The game ends with Elvis and Joanna leaving the planet just prior to an orbital bombardment from the Mayan Navy.